Hi guys, welcome back to the Live Ready Fitness podcast. We're really excited today. We have Jordan Newnum with us, who is about to join the team, and we're really excited because she's got a different fitness background than most of us have, and so excited to hear about you and hear about your experience.
Thank you. I'm very excited.
All right, Jordan. So tell us a little bit about your background. I know that because you're starting with us as an intern at Live Ready Fitness. So tell us a little bit about your just background and what made you want to start interning here.
So initially I went to school for dental assisting. I mean, being a military spouse, typically dental offices just aren't very interested in bringing you on. And so I just kind of struggled with that, and I was just in the gym all the time. And so being in the gym all the time, I actually just got offered a position at the gym I was going to, and I thought, why not? I'm here all the time anyways, why not be paid to be here? So I started that, and then that really introduced me to the passion and love that I have for fitness. Following that, I really continued to love working in a gym, and I wanted to pursue my personal training certification, so I did that. And then after that, I just wanted to continue to learn more about fitness. There's just never one aspect of training your body and mind. And so I was just wanting to branch out in more of a functional fitness aspect rather than just strength training and bodybuilding.
Yeah. And was there like a specific reason that you want to do functional fitness, or was it just like another tool on your belt?
A tool, but I mean, I'm really into watching like the CrossFit games. I love following it. And so it just, if it's going to pique your interest, why aren't you in it? Like, why aren't you doing something with it?
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, so you did that. You starting with us. You worked some other gym jobs, and so I know recently you did a show, and I want to talk about like that experience, especially with like the dieting and things like that. So tell us a little bit about how that goes and the show you did, and then how you train for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the show that I did was actually one here locally. It's called Tri-City, and doing that show was absolutely amazing. It was really fun to have everybody around you supporting you. So when you're up on stage and things like that, you truly have like the whole town shouting for you. You're a townie, so it's really fun, even though I'm not from here. You know, everybody just knows you. They see you in the shops, they see you in the gyms. So they just recognize you once you step up on stage. So that was really, really unique in that aspect. Training for it is pretty intense. I mean, I jumped into it really late. We were playing catch up, really. Not the best approach about it.
What's really late?
Yeah, what's really late?
Really late is, so ideally you should have like a 16-week prep in order to cut down your food to get you to the right place, to do it at a safe and healthy levels of just all around functioning for hormones and everything. For me, I had maybe 8. I think I had 7.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Your body.
Yes. And we started with 35% body fat. And we're talking about trying to get down for a female stepping on stage between 15 and like 20.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
In 7 weeks.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Yeah. All right, so you had 7 weeks. How did that go?
7 weeks. So that meant like, it was a good thing I worked at a gym because I went there at 5 o'clock in the morning to open up the gym. And doing so, I was immediately on the stairs. I mean, anybody who's doing bodybuilding is familiar with the Stairmaster. That's typically the number one go-to form of cardio for most people for trying to just cut down on that weight. So I was on that thing every morning for about an hour, and I was in a sauna suit, sweatpants.
Oh my gosh.
And when I got out, we did our own laundry at the facility for like towels and things like that. I'm lucky we did, because like I would have to take my clothes and throw them in the dryer just because they were so bad.
Oh my gosh.
And then shower, get ready for work all day, and then train for about 2 hours. Majority of it being legs, just being female. Your goal is typically legs for bodybuilding. I was competing in the wellness category, which is fairly new. So for wellness, it's all about smaller waist, bigger hips, bigger thighs. It's more about the lower body proportion than it is fully rounded for females.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
So you're working out 3 hours a day at that point?
Oh my gosh, yes.
For at least 7 weeks?
Yes. And 6 days. Like my off day was Sunday, but my off day was like I was still running on that day.
Okay.
I just didn't have to come to the gym to do it.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot of training. Absolutely. So what about food?
So food, again, just because it all depends on getting the right resources under your belt and having the correct timing. So I did have a lot of people tell me and advise me, like, this isn't the way to approach it, but this is where you're at and you're already in it. So there's like no turning back. Like, what's the point of turning back now?
Sure.
Yeah. And so I had a coach that completely programmed my training, my cardio, my diet, and his approach to everyone's diet, regardless of where they're at in their prep, was always just no carbs ever, basically, and tuna or tilapia, just very, very clean protein sources, and then asparagus, just because it's a very non-bloat, it's easy processed food, veggie-wise.
So you were working out 3 hours a day for about 7 days a week on no carbs?
No carbs, yeah.
Sounds awesome.
It's living the dream.
Yeah. Were you just like grumpy all the time?
A lot of people told me, so a lot of my coworkers, a lot of the regulars in the gym, they're just like, you don't seem happy anymore. You were so happy
Your
before.
soul, what's wrong?
So for 7-8 weeks, that's all you ate was tilapia, those
yes.
things, and asparagus.
Yep. And my breakfast was egg whites. So I could have egg whites in the morning. That was like my favorite. I just worshiped that meal because I've always hated fish.
Oh my God.
Never could stand it. And then all of a sudden I was just in the middle of this thing where I was like, all right, so you're going to eat 4 ounces of tilapia 3 times a day. And that's it. It's like, all right, here we go.
Wow. Man, that's tough. That's incredible discipline.
Yeah.
But definitely tough. Did you break?
No. So I did 2 shows. My first show, I definitely struggled a lot more with like mental checks of just being like, I want this. And then once I got to my second show, my first show was 8 weeks out. My second show was 12 weeks out from when I started. So it was just 4 weeks post show of my first one. And that one was really easy to coast through just because I was already where I wanted to be. Just wait. Like, it was in between those 2 shows, I just knew I had that one more. Just wait. But the first one, it just felt like it was never going to end. Like, everyone around me was eating the same. I was still cooking dinners for my husband normally. Like, we had family coming into town. My mother-in-law was cooking, like, pies and all this stuff. So that was super hard.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. Yeah. When you stepped on stage, what was your body fat percentage in that first show?
In the first show, I think we got down to about 22.
Wow.
Wow.
That's yeah, that is quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you got like, I don't know if a lot of people who are listening have like seen a bodybuilding show or no, but physically, what did you feel like? Like when you stepped on stage, you felt amazing or like...
It's really funny because you're behind stage, you have all these certain feelings about yourself. You have the tan on, you have the suit on, you have the heels and everything, and you just feel some type of way. And it's not necessarily always good. You're second guessing yourself. You see all the girls around you. You see all your competitors around you, whether you're male, female, competing in whatever category, whether it's 2 people or 20. You just see them and you're just like, you just have to get out of your head. But you step up on stage and those lights are just hitting you in the eyes. You can't see anything, but you are just like, for some people, it is just their element. For some people, it is the greatest feeling. Like, I slept 3 hours that night because I had to keep getting up every hour and take pictures and adhere to a certain eating protocol since midnight, the night of. And so I had no sleep. I thought I was going to feel like trash because everybody told me, you have to be up all night that night.
Oh my gosh.
It was the greatest feeling in the world, though.
Yeah.
Like, it was... I mean, I've competed in sports and stuff before, and it's just like that feeling of I'm feeling myself.
Yeah. Yeah. You did all that work for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about post. Like, you're done with the show. What kind of happens after that? How do you go from, because how many calories were you eating prior to?
Prior to training in general, I was probably eating around 25. And I was sitting at about 150. And then during my show prep, I was eating about 800 calories a day.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. My heart.
With 3 hours of training, two of them being cardio usually. I lost my menstrual cycle. Like, it was just, for the food aspect, it was just a lot on that. And then my second show, I stepped up on stage at 126 with about 19% body fat. So we dropped pretty good percentage for that show. And post-show, it's all up to you. I mean, the post-show protocol, to get out of something like that, to do it correctly, it's all up to the person and how much they care. You know, do you care about the way you look? Do you care about what's after? Or are you just too overwhelmed by food?
Yeah, because I would imagine having eaten 800 calories a day for like 12 weeks, if it was me, I probably wouldn't care at that point. And I definitely care, but at that point I think I would be like, give me all the pizza, all of it.
It definitely can get like that. So I mean, something that, you know, somebody very close to me taught me is, you know, enjoy that post-show meal. You know, enjoy that one. What have you been thinking about? What have you wanted? Enjoy it. The next day, you know, have 3-ish meals of foods you enjoy. Don't go crazy. Don't be like just getting, you know, pizza, burger, and fries and everything like that. But they're like, just split up the plate. You know how to eat. Protein source, you know, add maybe some carbs and get the veggies in there too. And then enjoy those 3 the next day. Once it's day 2, get back on track with your meals. You know, you don't have to pick tilapia if you're super over it, but she basically taught me like, all right, once we're past those enjoyment period, switch out the protein source, get right back on it. So that's what I had to do. The first week back, I could eat any other protein source, you know, ground turkey or chicken, but my veggies had to stay the same just because it helped my body adhere to a little bit more of stepping into different foods. So once the first week was over, we actually implemented new veggies. I could do a whole cup to 2 cups. Yeah.
I love how you
Living
said
large.
that very excited. I got to do new veggies, sweet.
I haven't touched asparagus since.
Yeah.
I've just enjoyed it a lot. So now I'm eating extremely different. 2 weeks out, I was allowed to have about 1,500 calories. That's where we got me back to. We added in carbs for my breakfast. We just continued with similar cardio. I was doing about 30 minutes instead now. I wasn't having to do the full hour. Still strength training though, pretty heavily, just to push everything through my body so that it wouldn't hold on.
And so you're keeping this protocol up like during the off season is basically what you're doing. And so you mentioned you're eating 800 calories. You were doing that. So the 16-week prep, you were still eating 800 calories then?
It wasn't 16 weeks from start to the second show for me.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It was 12,
It was only 12, which again, we're talking 16 weeks for somebody who has the muscle mass size they want and a lowered body fat percentage already. I mean, extremely lower than 35.
Yeah.
For me, where typically people would recommend, I mean, just out of safety and precaution, coaches would typically recommend, is looking more at like, hey, you need to plan 6 months to 8 months to maybe even a year at that kind of body fat percentage, depending on where my current diet was. You know, they would do a little bit more suggestion on that and air for caution.
Yeah, absolutely. I asked because I think it's interesting hearing your story as far as diet goes, you know, where you started at a higher body fat percentage. You know, for this type of show, you obviously do have to get down very low. And I think a lot of our listeners and a lot of people that we see that come into Live Ready Fitness, they're dealing with under eating, but they just don't know it, which is what you did. Like you did under eating. You did it in a controlled fashion, knowing, like, you were lucky enough to know full well, like your coach is telling you, this is what you're going to go through. But at the end of the day, like, you still saw very adverse effects. Like a female losing her menstrual cycle at 21 is not normal.
Yeah.
Right. It happens because the hormones went out of whack. And so I think it's interesting for our listeners to hear this is real. Like, and we tell them all the time, they come in here and they're eating 1,000 calories, but except they haven't been doing it for 12 weeks or 16 weeks. They have been doing it for years.
Yeah.
And then wondering why they're not seeing like results, or they're tired, they're grumpy, they're exhausted, they're feeling all these adverse effects. So kind of hearing it, letting them hear that, and then what it takes to get out of it, I think that kind of opened people's eyes to like how fast that actually happens.
Yeah.
And again, and most people we see are 40, 50, which is a lot harder on the hormonal profile than someone who's 21, you know? So coming out of it, you started eating. So how long, you know, is this something that you're going to try to keep, you know, are you going to another show? Or are you going to try to keep eating the same way, or like, what's the plan moving forward?
So the plan moving forward was just getting back to Jordan. That was the initial plan with one of my coaches. As we stepped out of the show, I just wanted to enjoy life, enjoy food, enjoy activities, because I mean I was exhausted. Like I've always
What? Really?
Yeah.
That's so weird. Why?
I've always dreamed at night. And like during that time I was so tired, I was so food deprived, I was so exhausted that I didn't have a single dream for 4 months, which is something like so weird to scale this on. But as soon as I started eating again, I started dreaming again every night. And so it was just something really, I didn't notice it until after, and it started happening again, but it was really, really strange. So going forward, it was just, let's figure out where Jordan is. Let's figure out where she's happy. And I did find out that the Tri-City show that I competed in locally here is happening again next year. And for me, I placed very well, but I didn't win the entire show. And so I was like, well, I just want to go back to win the whole show.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
And so were you able to keep, the figure you had on the show once you started to incorporate more foods, that kind of stuff? I know you're not going to keep it, but how close to that figure do you feel like you kept or able to keep, or what did your body fat percentage go to once you started to implement more food?
Yeah, so once we implemented more food, we just saw everything kind of going back to normal where it needed to be. I had blood work done and everything post-show, and I mean, there was nothing that was like jumping off the page with thyroid issues or cholesterol, just anything like that. And so we were, in a really good spot to just like, okay, let's just eat normal food again, but in a proportion size way for where you're at. And so we just implemented carbs in a couple meals a day, a post-workout meal. Since then, I mean, my quads and hamstrings have grown about like 3 inches each.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, they're loving the food.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're maintaining their shape, their cut and everything. The muscular picture of them has maintained the same. The only thing that truly changed post-show was, I mean, I kind of lost my abs, but they're still there. You can see them. They're just stronger. They have a little bit more food holding with them. So, I mean, that's it. For me, nothing has changed about my figure. My weight stepping on stage for the second show was 126. I'm holding about 132 right now. And my body fat percentage has been holding around 24, 25 since post-show, which is extremely healthy for a female. I mean,
Yeah.
Since then, my menstrual cycle came back, and my doctor, she was saying it could be a couple months, but we had followed the right process, getting out of it and taking the right, vitamins, nutrients, things like that.
So what is your caloric intake now?
I should have looked, but I think it's around 17 or 1800 now.
Okay.
Okay, and do you plan on bumping that up? The real question is, do you plan on bumping that up once you start to really start doing some functional fitness?
So definitely we have to bump it up. I mean, just if I'm going to incorporate any more exercise in what I'm doing, it has to be more food. You have to fuel that body. You have to fuel the recovery. I mean, you can eat 800 calories and do functional fitness, but you might not see the muscular growth. You're not going to see your muscles recovering. This is when you begin to see injuries. This is just, you're teetering with danger. Like,
Yeah, you might just hate life.
exactly.
Yeah, or you just might pass out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's good because, I think again, another misconception is people are we hear it all the time, I want to lose weight and tone up. And it's not, I'm not saying you can't do that, right? But it's hard when you're trying to lose weight, which requires a caloric deficit. And then you're also trying to put on muscle. It's not an easy thing to do. So now you have that time to say, okay, I can eat some more food. I'm going to put on a lot more muscle. And then when, like you said, when you lean down, you already have this really solid base, which will make it hopefully a lot easier. And you would be able to eat a little bit more calories before the show. So that's good. Okay, so what's the plan for the future? I know you're looking to do that show, I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then how do you feel so far about like the coaching and the interning process as far as starting in here?
Starting in here has been really fun. Like I said, I just love learning new things, and this is just a completely different aspect from how I've trained my body. I mean, there was a time where I was working with you on some of the assessments, And you were asking me why I was taking them so slow and so like controlled. And it was really funny because that's how bodybuilders have always trained their body. You don't explode in a rep. And that's the crazy thing about jumping from that to this is there is explosion, there is power, there is that oomph that you're giving. That's not just like, we're going to slowly contract this muscle.
Right. Yeah, should be a little bit different for sure. I think it'll be interesting to see. I think having you on the show again in 6 months and talking about, you know, the differences between bodybuilding training and then going through classes and doing functional movement and the fact that I think that you have a solid muscular base is going to definitely work in your favor. But like you said, I think the having to be explosive should be challenging. But I mean, you move well so from what I see so far. So
Thank you. That's good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we definitely look forward to working with you and then hopefully cheering you on your next show.
Yeah.
Tell everybody. I know you do a lot. You actually do a lot on your Instagram as far as like content and stuff. So tell everybody your Instagram handle so they can follow you.
So my Instagram handle is by Jordan N_fit. And on there, I just nutrition based, your do's and don'ts, your techniques and things like that. Workout ideas for in the gym or if you're at home with kiddos or whatever you're doing.
I love that. I love it. Doing content already. That's awesome. Good deal.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. Like I said, shoot Jordan a follow, shoot us a follow on our Instagram and our social medias, and we will see you at the next show. Thanks.